I would love to talk a little bit about, like, so if people are listening and they want to loosen the grip and they want to surrender to life and they want to surrender their deepest desires and manifestations, it kind of be hard because in our space, we're so much about like the lists or the manifesting or the visualizations. What would you guys suggest for people as steps to support them?
The first thing that comes to mind for me is I think it's easier to trust that you're going to receive when you're doing your part of giving. And I think it's wonderful to want to impact people or empower people or whatever, but you almost have to start at the small thing that you love doing and stop putting pressure on like, well, I can't just be obsessed with paper clips because that's not going to get me anywhere. Or I can't just be into gardening. So it has to be this like grand, amazing, pitch perfect, I want to impact women or I want to whatever. Jeff Bezos just started selling books on the internet. Do you know what I mean? The thing that makes it a big dream is your excellence and the energy that you bring to it consistently and the way that you hold yourself to high standards and that you give. Because I do think that receiving, I've been in places where I'm just like, I'm going to receive from the universe, like universe, show me what you got, but I'm not meeting it at points where it can come and meet me. So I'm getting lost in the spiritual jargon and just hoping and praying that I'm co-creating, but which we are, but co means you do yours, right? So the blogging every day or the whatever, like the small dream that you have to start showing the universe, like you're putting your money where your mouth is and not squashing that dream because it doesn't sound like the big dream yet. So I think there's so much like looking on Instagram and we only see 5 careers on there. And then if your small passion and your small interest doesn't fit into one of those, you're like, well, it can't be that. And so for me, the big grip is easier to let go of the grip when you see your own excellence like coming out of you every day. And then you start to trust it more and more. It's not going to be easy the first day. But one of the things that really stuck with me from my childhood is my dad always said, like, you know, I can give you so many things, but I can't give you the self-esteem and the confidence that comes from making a contribution. Feel like you made a contribution every day. That's not something anyone can pass down, right? No matter how lucky you grow up or any of that stuff. And I think that's true. I think what really helps us feel more trusting and more aligned and more all these things is watching you flex your gifts. I don't think receiving is just something you can like mentally make yourself do unless you're like, I'm actually also giving. And we focus so much, we're so entitled. We focus so much on what we're receiving. We're not even thinking about the fact that we're here to share in whatever way that we're designed to share.
So true.
Yeah, I love where you said about like where people try and be like pitch perfect with what they want and their purpose.
Yeah.
Because I feel like whenever we coach people for podcasting, you know, we'll hear like, what is your ultimate mission or desire? And it's so beautiful that people want to impact people in this way. But oftentimes I'm like, that's great. But like, what is your reason for why you are doing this? If no one ever listened, like, what would you get out of it? And I think we forget about that in the process where we kind of regurgitate what everyone else is saying as like a mission where we're like, I want to impact people or I want to, you know, whatever it is. And we forget that like, it should be something that fills us up and it should be something that serves us first to give us the ability to really stay in our hearts and give us longevity in what it is that we're doing and know that through our giving of our gifts that we're also receiving too.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's when you remember that you are the light because you're like, oh, look, how much more came out of me and I'm cultivating it. And that's what builds that light in you. And then wherever you go, because you've seen it and witnessed it come out of you, trusting that you're good enough is easier, trusting that you have value to give to others, trusting that you have a place in this world because you've shown yourself the evidence, not because you're blindly trusting.
Yeah. And I was going to say, for me, really finding the answer to that is to really focus on, do you love what you're doing every day? Or do you love the big picture idea of your career, your life, what you're bringing into the world? Because there's so many times in my life where I've looked at people who I really admire, like a Gabby Bernstein, for example, or Melissa Wood, and I still admire them so much. They're amazing. And I'm like, I want more of that. But then I think about the daily life, and I don't know about their daily life, but for me, if I was like a speaker and doing all these live events, that's not the life I actually want. So what I really enjoy that they bring into the world is the energy, the way that they impact people, the way that they're speaking their truth. Gabby writes it so flawlessly. Melissa speaks it so flawlessly. So then I think, okay, well, for me, what I really like to do in my daily life is have a lot of alone time, be with my baby, not host a lot of live events. But when I do, really do them sparingly so that I can really enjoy them. but it's not something that I want to be doing every weekend. And everyone told me for years, you should get a speaking coach and you should do a TED Talk. There's so many things you could do a TED Talk on.
I love when people give suggestions of what to do. Like, you should do a TV show.
No, I can't tell you how many people said you should do a TED Talk and a TV show and all the things.
Someone said you should apply for Discovery Plus shows to me the other day.
Oh my God.
Like, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And if it's the right thing, then it'll be resonant within you. But I was always like, a TED Talk? I mean, yes, I'd be challenging myself way out of my comfort zone. And there's something to be said for how awesome it is to challenge yourself and show yourself that you can do things that you might not have thought that you wanted to do. But right now, and if this ever changes, you guys will know, right now, that's not what I want to do. Because my daily life, I just want peace. I want joy. I want to be with my husband, my baby, my friends. I want time to go to hot yoga. It's the end of February and I haven't even been this year to hot yoga. And you guys know it's like the language of my soul. So for me, it's blending being a person in the world who has a big career, who has a reach, but my personal life is so sacred. And my personal life got no attention for so long. And hence comes the anxiety. And what I really love about anxiety, not to keep bringing it up, is that anxiety, it's just truth. It's like the truth that emerges in your body to be like, stop it right now. Like, stop what you're doing and reroute or tell the truth.
Powerful.
So, yeah, I think like to answer your question for loosening the grip, for me, it's like, oh, my dream life is riding by the ocean every day to work toward those books, the fiction, the memoir. And that's going to take like a little bit of a leap of faith, of courage for me, because that's not what I do every day, but it can be. And so that's the advice that I would give to anyone.
It's so brilliant to like also structure your day how in a way that makes your daily life feel fun. I think that took me a long time to learn.
You guys are masters of that.
It took me a long time.
Yeah, you've really done that well.
Thank you. But it took me a long time to figure out, like, I don't like waking up at 6 a.m. I like more sleep than most people. This is the amount of time I like to work. Like, you're just asking yourself those questions. Like, what do I want to fill my daily experience with? How much of this is too much? And the dosage of different things instead of, again, like shunting ourselves into these homogenized. If I want Y, firstly, I should want Y. And then that means I need to do X to get it and follow the formula and do a Discovery Plus thing. But then it makes you a robot. You've lived your whole life on some kind of trying to get guarantees instead of prioritizing your alignment. And then the unknown, the universe is going to have its way with you anyway. So
Totally.
it's like a waste of a life.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Morning Microdose by Almost 30.
We hope you enjoyed waking up.
As always, we encourage you to take what resonates and leave the rest. If you enjoyed this trip, tune into the full episode on the Almost 30 podcast. All episode information can be found in the show notes.
Make sure to subscribe, and if this becomes a part of your morning routine, be sure to share it with a friend. We have new inspiring doses Monday through Friday. Follow us on Instagram at Morning Microdose, and follow Almost 30 at Almost 30 Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the vortex.